teams down with a stare and a leer. Van Basten flying thunder in the sky. Ball at his feet, defend and say goodbye. Ancelotti general brain on fire. Now we got Suzu just sell and retire. We were kings, not a brand. We were pride, not a scam. Maldini bled for this crest. Now they best the soul and say don't rest. Milan, Milan, bring back Milan. Not this plastic plan, we want the fire, not the scam. Milan, Milan, bring back Milan. From the coast of 94 to the glory we ran. To Tassani to Parisi, a fortress of blood. Now it's TikTok tactics in a market and flood. No heart in the boardroom, just sell and survive. While the curve roars, truth is to feel alive. Where's the grit, the grind, the soul of the side? They traded legends for ROI pride. We ain't consumers, we're warriors and rage. You forgot who we are, but we ain't dead. We want warriors, not brands. We want purpose, not plans. This is Milan, not a trend. And we'll scream till the end. Milan, Milan, bring back Milan. From the cover to the pitch, we demand the Milan. Milan, Milan, bring back Milan. With Capello, Ancelotti, raise that Scudetto again.
What's happening, Milanisti? Milan Nation. Buenos dias, buenos dia, buongiorno, buenos aires, ¿qué onda? ¿Qué tal? Welcome to the Milanista Report, all right? It's probably going to be one of my last pods for a while, just because there's not too much, a lot of rumors going on in the club right now, but I just want to cover a couple of things before taking a little mini break during the summertime, right? Spending time with the fam, catching up on work, taking some little trips here and there to some of my spots here, look at some temples, some ancient stuff, going through the jungle, seeing jaguars, jumping in cenotes, all that fun stuff, right? A lot of cool things to do down here in Mexico. That being said, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Nico, as always. And on today's show, talking about transfer rumors, right? Obviously, you can see the cover there, the thumbnail. That was Theo, Musa, and Liao as 1980s arcade game characters, right? So obviously, those three players, there talks about them being, signed by some other clubs. Obviously, let's jump into it, right? So, first thing I wanted to touch on. Also wanted to include, besides jumping into the transfer rumors, players that are coming, going, right? As far as we know, I'll be getting into some tactical stuff too. Touching on that. Tactical stuff, adjustments I think that Allegri is going to make with the club. And there's two new assistant coaches that he brought on, right, to the team to help him get his principles, his tactics out to the players, right? Whoever's, that starting team is going to be, right? Those players are going to be going into next season, right? A lot of moving pieces right now. So we'll be jumping into that, and also my expectations for next season as well. Because honestly, I don't have much, right? Even with all these moves they're making, Redbird and management for Lonnie and Dade, um, just a little bit too late. It's not enough, right? They've done the damage, Redbird and for Lonnie and the rest of the management team, as we've spoken in the past, right? So let's jump into it. Boom. All right. So first things first. Let's see who's in the chat. Nobody's yet. All right. Once you get that chat going, fellas, I'll start reading off some comments as well. All right. So first things first, let's get into our departures and exit talks. Right. First one is Mr. Yunus Musa, Mr. Other American footballer that we have on the team. Right. Looks like he's going to Napoli. All right. Obviously, he didn't fit into the team. Let's just be honest. Let's be real. He was put in way too many positions. Right back, right wing back, right winger, right midfielder. You just don't do that to a kid, right? All right. So he's only 22 years old. Still has a lot to learn about the game. And you're putting this kid in 20 different positions. And he didn't succeed in any of them, actually. He had some bright moments here and there when, against Real Madrid, and he was coming down and making that back five and then slowing down Vinicius on that side, right? Double teaming them. But those moments were far and few, right? Let's be real. Hey, Pete, what's happening, Pete? Yeah, always, man. Just trying to put something out there for the people that enjoy our pods and our takes and our analysis, right? So back to Moose. So obviously he didn't fit into our program. Looks like Conte wants him, sees him as a part of the team, the midfielder, and midfield trio, maybe as a backup, right? Being that they're making a run for the Scudetto next season. That's pretty obvious, right? With the moves they're making, Sonny. De Bruyne, they got McTominay coming back, the MVP of last season, this past season, and it looks like they still got Laboca is in there as well. Ingiza is still in the club, so let's say he's still a Napoli player, and then you throw in Musa. And in terms of what I expect to see what Conte's going to do with him, he's going to keep it super fucking simple with Musa, extremely simple. Keep it simple, stupid. So they tell him to defend, drop back. If they're dropping back in a back five, take the ball. Don't make don't try to take your opponent on, especially in your own third, defensive third. Pass the ball to your midfielders. Pass it to De Bruyne. Pass it to Ingiza. Pass it to McTominay. And then get back into your position. And that's it. He's not going to have him bomb up the field. He's not going to have him trying to go into the attack because his finishing is not up to par at all, not up to snuff, Musa. So I expect to see that from Conte, right? Especially with having Musa on the team. I like the kid. I actually try to give him chances. I defended him plenty of times when he first came on. Not just because he's an American. I said, maybe this kid got something into him. He's got the build. He's got the physical tools. But up here, I don't know. Sometimes the game can be too much for us, especially with certain coaches, right? Certain coaches don't explain, don't get their point across a certain way, certain players, just like parents, right? Sometimes we don't go through no matter what we do, we don't get through our kids, right? No matter how much we try different techniques, different ways of approaching them, whatever. Angelo, what's happening, Angelo? I'll read your comment in a second, Pete. Listen, I gave him a chance. Unfortunately, I really thought he would turn into a decent player for us, especially with especially under Conceição. I thought Conceição was the type of coach who was going to, really strengthen that defense, the mid block, the counter pressing, all that stuff, and we did see it. And poor Musa was just lost. all these different coaching changes, the shit that's going upstairs with management, and good for him. Hope he turns out to be a decent player. I think he will. And maybe he'll win a fucking Scudetto next season with Napoli. All right. So I don't see that. Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, he's going to make him into a serviceable midfielder, right? Nothing great, nothing special, just a serviceable midfielder. Make a contribution with Napoli next season. Back to Pete's comment, it's hard to judge a lot of players since the last two coaches in Milan were absolute trash. Yeah, 100%. I mean, we saw other players break down too. We saw other players take a dip in their performance too. I think it was a mental thing. We saw Gabbia wasn't the same player. I mean, Christ, when Gabbia came back from loan last season, a lot of people comparing him, funny enough to Nesta, right? As a joke, but still, he was playing at that kind of level. He had streaks a game. He was fucking unbelievable. And at the end of this season, he looked disinterested, didn't not care. I think Gabbia has it upstairs mentally. I think Musa doesn't have that yet. That's the difference. Yeah, I see your point, Pete. I do. But yeah, at this point, Allegri would probably turn him into a decent player. Like something especially with Conte. He'll make it simple for him, simplify the game. Tell him 1-2 touch, go. Just like you tell you're going through your training session for your players. 1 touch, 2 touch, right? 2 touch, settle the ball down, look up, scan the field, and pass the ball and get back into position. That's what's going to happen with Musa, most likely. Next thing, Leao. It looks like Leao's staying. All right, there was some noise about Leao going to Bayern Munich's club, right? I think it'd probably do him good there too. But it looks like it's going to stay. I don't know how he's going to fit into Allegri's system since he doesn't usually play with the wingers, right? So I don't know what Leao's going to be looking at. Let's see what happens if Leao can get his butt into gear next season under Allegri, a much more stern coach, doesn't take no nonsense, doesn't play any games. He's strictly old school. Boring as shit. But nonetheless, he's going to get these players to get on board with the pro, get in shape, not be overweight like fucking Okafor was. He was packing those donuts and that lasagna and those cannolis last season. But we'll see what really out. It looks like he's staying. Theo, last time I checked, looks like the deal with Atletico Madrid, which I would have liked to see him with under Simeone, because I think Simeone would be able to unlock the old Theo back, right, and motivate him. I mean, he's been there so long, Atletico Madrid. His footprint is all over that team, the principles, everything, right? At this point, Simeone is Atletico Madrid. And I think it would have been a good move for Theo, personally. All right. But it looks like he's staying as well. All right. So with Theo, would Allegri get through to him next season? I don't know. But like I said, remember, management hasn't changed a bit. We still have the same goddamn management. In any other job in the world, if you perform like that, you will be canned. You'll be fired immediately. All right? If you're underperforming. And all of the management underperforms. Disrespected. There was a lot happening. And even with everything that went down, all the protests, Americans get out, Redbird get out, they could care less. Jerry probably laughed. He saw these protests going on in Italy and Milan with putting the Maldini flag up and telling him he wants to come back. They don't care, unfortunately. They're not listening to the fan base. They're listening to the people who are buying the jerseys, right? Those younger fans, the fans that are giving them chances time and time again. Because I'm still seeing posts out there, which is insane, saying, "Oh, We're going to be great next season. We have Allegri. He won this. He won the league. He's Italian. He's doing this. They have Dade. Stop. This is just smokescreen, fellas. All of it is smoke screen. All right. But before I jump off topic, let me get back to what I was the players, right? So Theo looks like he's staying. Leao looks like he's staying. Mussa's going. Next one is Mike. That's the big one. Mike Maignan. He's, one of the top 5-6 goalkeepers in the world by far. One of the few keepers that could actually play it deep. He's got a good wide range of different ways to get in the ball up the field. Either throwing it, he's got different techniques of kicking the ball up the field and breaking players out right on the break, like Pulisic a couple of times, once or twice. So he has the ability. Has he struggled? Yes. Is he injury prone? Yes. We've seen that. He does some stupid shit. I mean, I saw him one time when he was hurt, he was doing MMA in France with a professional MMA fighter, which is insane. You're trying to recover from an injury, bro. And you're training with an MMA fighter, professional, kicking heavy bags. Dude, that's not recovering at all. That's it. You're asking to get hurt again, right? Redman, what's up? What's going on? So, and the other thing with Mike as well, he's had a couple different coaches. He had Dida, right, as a goalkeeper coach, and he had somebody else. Then somebody else came in. So they're always changing his technique a little bit as well, right? How to defend the near post, things like that, right? Positioning, technique. That kind of messes with the player as well. That inconsistency. And a poor back line as well. Our poor back line, poor midfields, giving up way too many uncontested, high-quality shots. We've gone over these stats in the past. Again, last season as well. You can expect so much from a keeper. I like to see Mike stay. All right, see Mike stay. Have him groom Torriani or another really talented keeper in the Primavera or in the Futura team. I forget to get his name. I think he's French. He's been with us for a minute. Have him mentor those kids. Bring them up. Give Torriani more time. We've seen Torriani play. We saw him in the preseason. We've seen him in games. He looks confident. All right. We should give him a chance. Will they give him a chance? Probably not. Like every other talented youngster that we have coming through the ranks. Liberali's not giving a chance. Kamada's not giving a chance. Zeroli's loaned out. He's going to probably loaned out again. Bartasagi plays here and there. These kids don't get really a chance at all to make an impact on the team. So, fellas, quick thing. Give me your thoughts on these transfer rumors on Musa, Leao, Deo, and Mike. It looks like the other one they were talking about was Pavlovich as well, right? There was a team looking to get Pavlovich from us. And to be honest, I think most of us in this who are listening, who are tuned in right now as well, are locked into this pod, probably agree with this. Pavlovich ain't no footballer. I know the Balkan fans out there, right? The Serbs love the kid. Love him. Absolutely love him. I know there was a Serbian Milan fan in some pod, but we all know was on last season. He was raving about the guy. And, there was no pushback by the podcaster, the host, which is fine. I get it. You don't want to cause too much ruckus on your show, right? I would have pushed back, but it is what it is. But yeah, there's a lot of Balkan fans, a lot of Serbs love them. And what do we saw with Pavlovich? Absolute disaster. Had some moments. Was decent on 1v1s, right? But overall, he's not a player. I call him the Serbian Merc because he's a Merc. he hacks people. He destroys his own players in training. I think it was Morata. He banged him up in training session, which is, it happens sometimes, right? But, you know, intelligent footballers will know how to train without hurting their training partners, right? Just like with boxers, you're in training sessions, you know where to hit your teammate, right? Your partner, without killing him, without hurting him, so he won't be able to perform, right? Probably doesn't have the ability. The guy just has one speed, is to kill, take people's heads off, right? Take some scalps, and that's it. Like I said, he's decent defensively. 1v1s, he's all right. His awareness sucks. That's also the coach's fault too. None of those coaches helped him. None of those coaches built that skill up, right? Not Fonseca, not Conceição. Like I said, I expected more out of Conceição when he got brought on. I really thought he was going to help the defenders, right? The defensive abilities, reading the game better, their positioning. That didn't happen. So I was 100% wrong on that. All right, let me take a couple of comments here. Fadinho, what's happening, Fadinho? Let's see what Pete's comment said, what he just said. I think if players are asking to be sold, they should be the first to go. Leal, Theo, and Mike don't want to be there. As much as I want them to stay, I think this problem will hurt the team. Yeah, I see your point. They're disinterested, a lot of them, especially Theo. I think he's, once everything went down with Maldini, and that was kind of the beginning of the end. Like a lot of, even the fan base too, right? They was not part of the project. This is Angelo Loria. And I think Mike leaves for free next year. Leal will be gone by the winter. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of changes regardless, fellas. We're hitting the reset button again, right? When we don't have a project in place, a long-term project. We're looking to make the bleeding stop. That's why Allegri took this position, this job. That's why they signed him. He's not a long-term fix for this team. He's not going to help develop youngsters. Well, no coach actually did, right? We all thought Conceição was going to do that, or Fonseca. That didn't happen either. And now we have Allegri. So we don't have a long-term plan. Management doesn't have it. Their plan is to keep selling players, keep turning a profit. And if you think otherwise, you think they're actually looking to win. If they win the Scudetto, it'll be totally by accident. If they finish top two. Because we don't know what's going to happen next season. We don't know how our midfield is going to be. Right now, our midfield looks weak as hell. That's your heart line of the team. That's your heart and soul of the team, in my opinion, is your midfielders, right? The ones breaking the lines, taking the ball, moving the ball through the open channels, right, up to the attacking third, right? And they're doing a lot of things defensively as well. So, yeah. Don't expect much. If you actually think that their Red Bull wants to win and compete, you're out of your minds. I'll take one more question, I should say. Angelo, what's going to happen with Kamada or Liberali? Well, listen, Angelo, the writing's on the wall. You're seeing what's happening. We hired two different coaches last season that were known for giving kids a chance, right? Conceição, let's go with Fonseca. Fonseca had a young team at Lille, right? I think he was at Lille. Yeah. He had young players. Several different young players. He had Yoro. He had that kid right back, Santos. And they played, and they performed pretty well. All right. What happened when he went to Milan? That went out the window. We didn't see any young. We saw Kamada he made an appearance here and there. Liberali, summertime, and that was it, really. Toriani hardly touched the field after that as well. And then Conceição, somebody at Porto who really took advantage of their really high level, one of their best academies in the world, right? Bringing kids players up, right? Because those Portuguese teams, those academies, they don't focus on winning trophies. They can care less about that stuff. It's about developing them the most intelligent footballers out there. Give them all the skills. And we saw that because he used a lot of the youth as well. That's the way Porto runs, right? You bring him into Milan, that doesn't happen either. Now we're bringing Allegri, who's a dinosaur, right? And when has he ever played youth? Maybe out of, if he has nobody else to play, out of just being a desperate coach, yeah, just like Pioli. I think that's what's going to happen. But honestly, I like to see him. I think Kamada at this point, he's ready to make an impact on some team. He's got the physical tools. He's a natural poacher. The kid has an eye for goal. He's got that fucking nose to score goals. You can see that. But everybody keeps talking about getting you more midfield. Let's get this guy. Let's get Vlahovic. Let's get this guy. Let's keep bringing more players and strikers in. These older players. And where does it leave Kamada? Even if he stays on the club, where does that leave him? If he's got two other strikers ahead of him, he could be the third option off the bench. That's not the way. The kid deserves to be at least a second option. Give him 20 minutes a game, 30 minutes, real minutes, not garbage minutes where they're losing 3-0, 3-0, and you expect them to do what? And the other team is they got everybody in the back. They're playing with 5 in the back and compact. Liberal is another one. He's a little undersized. The kid's got a really good technical ability. He's really good on the ball. He's got better feet than TJ, right? The kid's fucking an amazing fucking player. Talent. He's a little undersized. His development was stunted by the Futuro with that whole program this season. A lot of those players' development was stunted. Their growth this past season, Futuro, right? With the coaching and the director who's running that program, Ibra's friend, who has no business running that program, which, by the way, he's coming back next season too. Nobody's losing their jobs. So, yeah, and that's my response, Angelo. I don't see any of these kids. I see it come out, and maybe hopefully he'll go. Hopefully some team is smart enough, maybe Bundesliga team, which is known to really do a good job bringing up the younger players, right, giving them a chance. Especially if they do that with U.S. players, right? They really give them an opportunity, especially defenders. And, we saw Reina as well, right? Reina years ago. And Pulisic. Go to a team, go to a Bundesliga team and play 60, 70 minutes a game. And really build it up, get onto the get a call up to the Azure national team at some point in the next couple of seasons, and really make an impact in football. Because with Milan, ain't happening. All right, same thing with Liberale. I hope he finds a home as well, just like Simic found a home, and he's balling out as well. All right, I'll take a few more comments and questions, and we'll get back into it. All right. Fadinho, latest promotion, buy 2 AC Milan players and get chicken rail for free, bonus included in travel expenses on the house. All right. PT, I hope we see a lot of Kamada this season coming. Yeah, Pete, just like I said, I don't see it happening. I also want Liberal to be given a chance in the first team. Last season, preseason, he was one of the better players. Yeah, he was. I mean, even though he was playing against kids his own age, right? Those other clubs during that U.S. tour, they weren't playing their top, their starters, right? Yeah. If that happens, Fadinho, I'll tell you right now, it's going to be a fucking revolution if they loan him out. and which I see him doing actually, which is fucking sad. But like I said, it's probably the best for the kid at this point. Jose, what's happening, Jose? I hope Allegri gives the kids playing time. Yeah, we have a lot of talent, a ton. Let me finish off. There's so much talent that we end up losing this on. This is much more worse than Kessie Donnarumma leaving on free. Yeah, they left for financial reasons, right? In some cases, they did with Kessie. They didn't want to pay him. Donnarumma left. Good for him. He's a fucking Champions League winner right now as well at PSG, and they got a really good program over there. Good project, right? Under Luis Enrique. He's doing good for himself, that kid, Donnarumma. Let's be honest. At the end of the day, right now, the way Milan is, this ain't Milan, right? I don't want to get too much into that because we've been through it 100 times, complaining and Lab Gorilla, one of my co-hosts on this channel, he recently put out a pod. Check it out. It's a recorded pod talking about Forlani and those guys and the whole mess this season. It's a 3-part series, right? Really good stuff. Really put together, a lot of heart and passion behind it. Just check it out. All right. But I myself, I've been through it a million times. I've gone after management. I've cursed them out. I've had super crazy rants on this pod in the past. And I still do. I'm disgusted with them. But how much I can't keep doing this. I really can't, going down this fucking path of being just angry on this podcast all the time and being mad and cursing out in Greek. Because when I curse out in Greek, it's not good at all. Right? It means my heart rate's up. All right, blood pressure's up. All right, which is fucking unhealthy. I don't need that in my life. All right, the other one, let's go look at incoming, right? Boom. The big one is obviously Modric from Real Madrid. Yeah, he's 40 years old. He's in for a 1-year deal. Am I crazy about the signing? I don't know. Some fans, probably a lot of the younger fans out there, love this, saying, "Oh, we got a future, we got a GOAT," which he is. Yeah, he's at his position, one of the better players we've seen in the last decade in that position. Really fucking smooth on the ball, super intelligent player. If we had picked him up 4 seasons ago, I would have been extremely fucking happy. Because he still had it. He still had that motor, right? Recovering balls. He was a beast 2-3 seasons ago. Now he's turning 40. He probably keeps himself in great shape. Probably has the best trainers and regimen and eats great. He looks like that. I don't think he parties. He's not a partier. Right? He's not going out. Right? Getting drunk, getting stupid, and getting into fights. He's a professional footballer. You're not going to see him on Instagram or trying to be a rapper. The dude's the real deal. He's a footballer, 1,000%. He's going to be a good mentor to whoever who's going to be the rest of the midfield. Yeah. With Liberali and them, if they were able to stay and probably learn under Modric, it would be a great experience for those kids. And Voss too, right? If he's still with us. But he's going to make a big impact on the team. No, he's going to do okay. He's not going to play every game. We're only playing Serie A games, right? Which is great for him, I guess. But he's not a game changer. He's not going to flip the season for us. He's going to be a good role model in the locker room, on the sidelines, on the field. Telling people where to be positionally, right? Their positioning and things like that. Yeah. It's a decent deal. But again, it's not going to change anything, right, at the end of the day. And still, again, Milanismo is dead. All right, let's get that straight for the time being. But I'm hoping it comes back. The other potential signing, we're looking at Calafiori. I don't see that happening. Don't see it. I don't see Arsenal selling him if they do, and it's not going to be cheap. All right, it's going to be a huge price tag that Redbird ain't going to fucking budge on. We all know it. Let me go back to the chat, see who else popped their ugly head into the chat. Max, what's happening, Max? Let's see, Jose. I understand they left for financial, but these kids are leaving for minutes, which is their bread and butter. Yeah, that's how they develop at the end of the day, right? You're getting some meaningful minutes on the team. On a broad scope of things, makes it hard for the Italian national team fail as well. Also, yeah, we're seeing these talented young kids. There's a couple. I forget. There's two Italian defenders. That would have been great for Milan. But we know we're not consigning those. Not even Juve went after them as well, right? Which is surprisingly, or even like Inter either, which I'm surprised because they need to rebuild that back line. They're going to the EPL. One kid's going to, I think Brighton, I forget, and somebody's going to some other club. I hope they do well. I hope they ball out. But these are kids that should be playing in Italy. That's a problem as well. And that hurts the national team as well because they're not being seen. Because a lot of coaches too, like you see, sometimes they prefer having kids that are playing at home as well. But Dino, thanks for the support. All right, back to it. Let's get into it. Next player I wanted to dive into. Before I get into the other one is Kepa. All right, that's another option we're looking at from Chelsea, their keeper. So Sturgeon is another option, right? Both decent keepers, both solid keepers. Experience. I don't see it happening either. And honestly, like I said, I'd rather see Mike stay and give Torriani a chance or the other kid. That I forget the kid's name. It escapes me to give him a chance to develop. But like I said, at the end of the day, that's not going to happen at all. Let's see what else we got going on. So we talked about Pavlovic as well. We'll get to the coaches in a second. All right, so the next player, this one is interesting. If I butchered this kid's name, I apologize, but it's some Club Brugge, which we do have a relationship with them, right? In the past with CDK, right? Ardan Jassadi. He plays as a number 6. I did some digging up on him as well. I'm not really familiar with this player. Saw some highlights, read some scouting reports from some scouts that I follow online and through other sources that I've put together the last few seasons and contacts through internet football, right? So this is the breakdown of this kid. Would I prefer an Italian to build that Italian core? Yes. That's not going to happen. So you can't beggars can't be choosers, right? So this kid, he's really good on the ball, really good control, really good passing range as well. Like his accuracy, even not just side to side passes, which we know is BS. Those stats, they pad your stats, right? Just like some people were padding Child's stats, passing stats, and then most of those passes were backwards and sideways, by the way. They weren't breaking the lines. There weren't switches. So another thing with this kid, he's like I said, he carries the ball. He goes through the lines. He'll cut through the lines, break the lines. He's very aggressive. And a lot of scouts like him. He's got the total package. He's one of the best players in that league right over there. With Club Brugge. The one thing that they do talk about, which is, aerial, he's not strong in the air. All right, because maybe his size. I don't think he's a big kid, very imposing player. And the big one, and maybe Allegri can change this as well, because Allegri is known for defense. It's supposed to be Juve, right? As much as we hate seeing Allegri ball, it's not the most exciting type of football. he does know how to teach his team how to defend as a unit. Something that even Conceição was big on at Porto, which we did not see at all at Milan. But this kid, Jasari, his one big weakness is defensive coverage. His positioning, reading the play, being one step ahead of the opponent, right? Things like that. Intercepting balls, because like I said, it's about positioning and reading the game, understanding where the ball is going to go before it's going to be there, where your opponent's going to be, right? Being one step ahead. He doesn't have that. In his transitional game, defending it and back is garbage too. It's not that hot because he's young. Could he fix it? 100%. Could Allegri fix that? And his coaches, definitely. If he's open to learn, if he wants to defend, because everybody wants to score goals. Everybody wants to do, fucking sombreros and step overs, right? And all those moves everybody knows, right? 1v1 moves. But not everybody wants to defend. That's the thing. You need to have that in you innately to want to defend, to want to get back, to want to eat up the ball, to take up, to eat up balls and recover balls and things like that, and make those hard tackles in the midfield and things like that. You gotta want that internally. And this time, at this age, this kid doesn't have it. Could he have it? Possibly. Under the right coaching staff, the right motivation, 1,000%. So would it be a good pickup? Yeah, I don't know what he's going for. I really don't care about. I'm not a financial expert. All right, this is not my money. All right, I don't care if they overspend for him. If he's going to be a good addition to the team, if he's going to be played and used right by Allegri and he makes an impact, I'd be okay with this signing. I guess. I don't know. It looks like a good, talented kid. I'll give him that much. All right. So, guys, give me your thoughts on this player as well. Argan Jasari out of Club Brugge. I know a lot of people don't. If you guys read up on him a little bit, there's some stuff online on X on him. Like I said, he looks like he'll be a decent signing if they bring him on. But again, none of these moves, again, just disclaimer, I'm not excited about this season. I'm not excited about any of these players. I don't think they're going to move the needle and put us in a position to win jack shit next season because of who's in charge, and that's Forlani. Let's get into something more interesting that I like is tactics. So Allegri looks like he's bringing in some help, some coaching staff, right? Some people he's worked in the past. First one's Andrea Barsalgis. I'm butchering his name. Anyways, never mind. Too goddamn early. He was the Juve defensive coach between 2019 2020, so he's worked with Allegri in the past. He does play that back three system as well. That's something he's big on as well, which fits into with Allegri formation. He also coached the youth national team. Right, he still does the U15s. He was defensive coach for the U15s and U20 levels. Really focused on their development and strategies and shaping the next generation of defenders. Right, that's his big deal is bringing up the youth defenders in the U15 and U20 levels. That's what he does. He's a defensive-minded coach. He's all about defenses, guys. Andrea. And I'll put his name in the chat. I'm butchering his last name. I apologize for that. Here it is. That's this guy that I would look at that Allegri is going to bring in. So back three specialist, right? Part of that Juventus legendary fucking trio back in the day. Plays a 5-3-2 or 3-5-2. That's his favor formations. So yeah, this would be a good addition at the end of the day. Bringing in another defensive coach. So this is where Allegri's going to go. It looks like he's going to really focus on defending next season. Yeah, I'll get into him in a minute, Jose, into Vaz, because a lot of people were hyping that kid up. And the other coach, so he's the other coach that we're looking at, assistant coach, is Bernardo Corradi. And he was also part of the youth national team as well, the U16s, 18, 17. Took over the U20s in 2024, right? Led them to the 2025 FIFA U20 World Cup. So he's bringing in people that have worked with youth, knows the Italian system, and are defensive coaches that focus on positional intelligence, tactical transitions, being compact, reading the game, leveling up as a defender. More about Corradi. He does favor a 4-3-2-1, 4-3-1-2, but he ain't gonna play that. We're playing We're playing a fucking back three, right? At the end of the day, it looks like. He's another coach that focuses on defensive organization, on the midfield being really compact, not too spaced out from the back line, right? And disjointed. So at the end of the day, these two coaches, Bernardo Corradi and the other guy we just spoke about, Andrea, are being brought on from Allegri to really get his defensive principles, his ideas out to the team. Because as you know, if anybody's been part of a training session, you got the whole team out there. One coach cannot possibly look at and see what's going on with every training session, every player. All right, correcting little things, right, during this little break, training, like coaching sessions, right, between plays. He's bringing these guys on. He's worked with them in the past. They've worked with the youth. He's going to bring them on and really drill down on defense. So expect next season, we all know this, it's going to be a lot of low-scoring games next season. All right. And we're probably going to be at the end. We're going to win games 1-0, lose games 2-0, 2-0, 2-1. He's not going to give up a ton of goals. We're not going to score a ton of goals. But at least defensively, we're going to be sharp. And give this team a chance, I guess, at top four. I don't know. Not super exciting. I mean, from a tactical point of view, like myself, I'm interested to see how he does, especially with these two coaches, assistant coaches on the staff. But I am not excited about anything. Like I said, as a fan, I'm not pumped up. I can't sit there and fake it and tell you guys next season is gonna be great, guys. We have Allegri. He's won the Scudetto. Oh, we're winning the Scudetto next season. We're winning it all. No, I can't do that shit. I can't be fake. I can't. So that's all the topics that I have that I really wanted to bring up. These two assistant coaches, found that interesting, right? Like I said, I really want to get back into talking about tactics. And finally, we got a defensive tactical coach, right? Exciting stuff. We talked about the transfer rumors, who's going, who's staying, possible signings. Nothing crazy there. We're not signing these huge players. I can tell you, Liverpool fans, they're fucking excited. Liverpool fan podcasters as well with the signing of Wirtz. Yeah, they spent 150 mil, but the fan base are fucking ecstatic. And I wish I had that passion again. I wish I could find that and say, look, we're getting this player this season. Fuck yeah, we're in it. We're back. We're back, baby. We ain't back. We're a long way from being back for a lot of reasons that we all talked about to exhaustion at this point. Myself, my other co-host, Even Max is Max too, who's in this chat from M11 podcast. Him and Gino, they've talked about their displeasure with management time and time again. We've all done it. People from Ordinary TV as well. All right. And I'm trying to get away from that. I'm trying to take a break because that's what we're doing at this point, which is fine. And it needs to be done. We need to keep the pressure on management, even though it's not changing shit. Because we the fan base are putting pressure on them. The protests, or whatever protests with the fucking Curva, which is a joke in itself. That's not a serious protest. All right, showing up to games 15 minutes late or leaving 15 minutes into the game. What are you trying to prove? What does that show? Nothing to me. Or either protest 100% or not. This half-ass shit doesn't work for me. It doesn't fly with me. But back to Jose's question. Jose B, what the hell happened to that bum Voss? So Voss, big talent out of he's out of PSV or Ajax? I don't remember. One of those clubs. Let's say Ajax, right? I could be wrong. Big talented, a lot of talent. People were big physical kid, built like a tank, right? And a lot of people they thought that we're going to see him on the first team eventually. They kept mentioning him in the reports that they really were focusing on this kid, really to sell him to the fan base. But he was also another victim of the poor Futura fucking club, the team. All those kids, they all took a step back in their development as young players. And that's on Ibra and his boy from MLS, from LA Galaxy over there, right? And this guy, he does have experience in Germany. He's not some American guy who just knows American football. He's been into the German system, but the fact that he went to LA Galaxy, destroyed that club, they fired him, and somehow, Ibra thought this would be a good signing, a good person to put in charge of the fucking future of these kids, of the future of our club. And he's back. He's not being canned. The guy failed in the MLS. He couldn't hack in the MLS, this guy. And how the fuck is he gonna hang in Calcio? With all these other directors that have way more experience, have been around Calcio, have been around the Italian game forever, since they were kids, since they were fucking toddlers. And you bring this guy in and you bring him back. The whole project is fucked. It's just sad. I don't know how, like I said, people who've watched this pod later, you're gonna hear me going through the tactical stuff and the players, like, wow, Nico's back talking about tactics only. Cool. I'd love to talk about tactics for 2 hours straight, but we can't, because the reality is this whole thing is fucked. It's a mess. I don't care who they bring in, try to, put makeup on a pig. They ain't changing the fact what they did to the club. All right, Fadinho. I get what Allegri is trying to do, and I know what Tati needs to do. But it all depends on what budget they get. Without having a big budget, and listen, they can't achieve anything. Fadinho, and what's the track record of this management? Furlani's still in charge. He's making the decisions. Do you think he's going to get along with Allegri? I'll give Allegri 6 months, 7 months, maybe less before he blows his fucking fuse and gets fed up and leaves. Because he's dealing with Furlani. Tati, he reports to Furlani. So even if Toddy has an idea, who's going to make the final decision? Most likely Furlani. Ibra's out of the picture. He's taking a step back. He's going to just be, I don't know, the fucking buffer between a fan base and you know, management again. I don't know. I could care less about Ibra. I don't like the guy. Yeah, Jose, you're right. Lucky if we've seen last season, it was that 20 mil was the breaker. 20 mil. And I know there's talks about Rovella. Rovella ain't coming. Ricci. I know there's some people think he's too expensive. Would he be the answer alone? No, he wouldn't. If you just brought Ricci onto the team. So you imagine if you brought Ricci, right? So you would have Ricci, Modric, who's 40 years old. Like I said, it'll be a good, role model. Is going to help everybody level up a little bit, hopefully, and be a good role model in the locker room. Lost his cheeks, useless, and for fun. That's a terrible fucking midfield. It's such a weak midfield. The only way it would be a decent midfield if we bring in Rovella, Ricci, or if you don't want to go with Rovella, you bring in that kid, somebody like Cardozo. From Betis, if you want to go the American way, he's a good player actually, right? He's a good, strong midfielder, Cardozo. And I think Atletico Madrid was looking at him as well. So Diego Simeone likes the kid, so that tells you something. All right, you really want to ball out, you really want to beef up your midfields, you sign Anguissa. You bring him over from Napoli. This guy won a Scudetto twice. He's been playing under good coaches, Spalletti. He's failed miserably with the national club, the national team. That's a whole different game. But he was under Spalletti when Spalletti was balling out with Napoli. Conte, he's strong, physical. He doesn't get hurt a lot. Smart player, makes good decisions. That's what you do. You bring in Anguissa, you bring in Ricci. And then you start balancing out your midfields. But these idiots, Furlani, with this, that Zulus analytics, which is by the way, it's a closed system, right? They're not sharing their analysis with other clubs. They're not using these open source tools, scouting tools that other clubs use that compares scouting analysis stats and stuff with other scouts. This is a closed system, so they're relying only on their own fucking data. But they're inputting it to that system themselves, to that database. By the way, so you're limiting yourself right there, right, with your fucking online analysis, right? If you're not gonna go out to watch these players live and you're just basing it off of fucking the software, it's a closed system, so you're fucked as well. It's not the best thing. An open system is better, in my opinion. But that's a discussion for another day. But at the end of the day, these idiots don't know what they're doing. They have no clue, and it keeps showing. And to think that, they're going to change the league, they're going to do something different. They're bringing Allegri, they're doing this, they signed Modric, which, like I said, it's a little too late. The fact is, they've destroyed the culture of the club. They've destroyed the history of the club. They're erasing it little by little, strand by strand, just keep pulling the strands out, unraveling everything that was put together by Gazidis, by Maldini, by Sada. Undone completely. All right. Kept going into about an hour here, fellas. Let's kind of close this out. A couple more comments and questions. Oh, this is to Fadinho. I'll read this out to Jose B. Fadinho, we're getting a little Mickey Mouse bumps from France or some obscure league. This is my point. Why not give the youth a shot? Dude, we said this last year too, Jose. My expectations for the season that just finished. I wanted to see the youth play. That's what I cared about more than anything else. And it didn't happen either. Fadinho. All right. Allegri dealing with the youth is like mixing oil and water. Yeah, he's fucking disgusted. It's like holy water to the guy. Allegri's gonna fucking burn. Being close to the youth players. And same thing with Constantine, same thing with Fonseca. Every coach that we bring in does not want to touch the youth. And I think with Allegri, with Constantine Fonseca, it was for different reasons. I think somebody told him, I don't have inside sources. I don't work for Milan. I don't work for the club like some other people do. But optics-wise, it looks like somebody was telling them who to play. Because Fonseca wanted Salamakers. All right? He wanted him. And what happened? They got rid of the guy. All right, fellas, any other closing comments, questions? Kick them off now because we're about to wrap this up. Hey, by the way, I almost forgot. Holy shit. To all the fathers out there, all the good fathers that love your kids, will do anything for your kids, protect your kids, do the right things. Happy Father's Day. So the other fathers out there that are disappointing for certain reasons that people in this chat know about what went down. You should be I'm no happy Father's Day to you at all. You don't deserve to be celebrating today one bit because you guys supported that stuff. That's what I'm going to say. All right, on that topic. All right, that's still ongoing. That ain't over yet. All right. Everybody in the chat, Fadinho, Jose B, Max, Remen, who else am I getting? I don't want to miss everybody. Hold on. Let's see. I just lost the chat. Who else is here? Make sure if I didn't forget anybody. Yeah, Pete. Everybody. Angelo. Thanks for locking in. Again, happy Father's Day to the kick-ass fathers out there that are doing the right thing. All right. Be good. All right. And listen, again, don't get fooled by these moves at all. Don't get fooled. It's just smoke screen. All right. Don't get too excited. Stay grounded. All right. And that's all I got to say about that. All right. Till then, Forza Como. Always Forza Milan for real. All right. Even with this shit that's going up, management. All right. We still love the club, regardless. Doesn't mean we still have to support this shit, though. All right. Later, fellas. Happy Father's Day to everybody.